word. It just came out a few years ago. And you can say it, and it will instantly divide the room. It's amazing. People just start yelling at each other, "You're a fucking idiot!" And someone will end up crying. At least a few people look kind of bored out of their minds. It's really incredible. That word is Bitcoin. You just say Bitcoin, and everyone flips the fuck out. A nerd orgasms in his pants, and there's all three people always fall asleep, at least three. And I figure it's high time we really delve into this topic, since a single Bitcoin now is supposedly worth like about the same as the shoes little Baron Trump wears, roughly $14,000. And to think he'd probably give up every dollar he has in exchange for his father to remember his name one time, just one time. One time. It's okay, little fella. It gets better. In order to understand Bitcoin, you have to first realize what money is to begin with, because we use money all day. You buy a sandwich or a hat or a late night back alley foot job or whatever you're into, and you don't really think about what it is. We never stop to think about it. Money started as an IOU. It was a note, right? That said, "I owe you 3 chickens," or whatever. Yeah. And then people started trading the IOUs without the chickens even getting involved. The chickens could just stay home and relax. And sometimes someone would loan out 2 of the 3 chickens that he never even had to begin with. And that's called fractional reserve chickens. But we don't need to get into that just yet. Not now. So money at its heart is just a ledger, okay? It's keeping track of transactions. It is nothing more. Various kinds of currency have been backed by different objects for thousands of years. You got chickens, shells, salt, daughters, goats, what have you. Ours was backed by gold, but in 1971, Richard Nixon, who I think we can all agree that's who you want in charge of your gold, Richard Nixon took us off the gold standard, meaning we now have a fiat currency. That is a currency with no intrinsic value. The value of each dollar bill in your pocket is nothing more than the belief you give it and the government that enforces it. So the US dollar has a lot of power because we have big guns and a lot of people use the dollar. And anybody who tries to stop using the dollar, like Saddam Hussein and Muammar Gaddafi, well, you see how that turned out for them, Dropping the dollar has an odd direct correlation with US military invasion that ends with your head on a spike, okay? It's a very strange mathematical correlation. In fact, the guy who invented Bitcoin was so worried that he'd end up on a spike that he's never revealed who he is. It's still a secret. Meaning, the only remaining secrets in the universe are who invented Bitcoin, who Banksy is, and where babies come from, okay? My dad and I never really got to talk much when I was little. So Bitcoin is an encrypted ledger of transactions that is global, fast, and free to use. And perhaps the best way to explain it is to go through the arguments people have against it. People say, it's not backed by anything, it's nothing behind it, it's not backed by anything. There's nothing, there's nothing that you can hold. I have a thing. Bitcoin has no chickens, okay? There's no chickens behind it. But neither does the US dollar. It's not backed by anything either. And over 90% of US dollars aren't even printed. So you can't even point to a green piece of paper with a racist white dude and say, there it is. There it is. 90% of it is never printed. Bitcoin is not the first digital currency because the US dollar is a digital currency. Most of it is only on computers, created by secretive central banks run by fat guys sitting around a long boardroom table, sweating through their blazers and itching underneath their moves, The reality of the situation, all right? The Federal Reserve is a private entity, and the Federal Reserve Bank's 2015 estimated net income was $100.2 billion. They then transferred approximately 97.7 billion of that to the U.S. Treasury. So that means they profit about $2.5 billion simply for going, poof, there's your money. Ta-da! And keep in mind, it's not printed, all right? Most of it's not printed. So really, they get $2.5 billion for just going, money! There it is, I just did it. It makes as much sense as paying someone $1 billion for, like, picturing the color blue in their mind. What effort did that take? On top of that, there's no maximum amount of dollars that we can print. You know, we just keep pumping them out like a mullet-headed couple firing new kids out onto the lawn all summer long. The national debt doesn't even matter because we can print as much money as we want. Bitcoin, on the other hand, has a maximum amount of 21 million Bitcoins. That is all there will ever be. The next question people ask is, how do I trust it? I don't know who runs it, who could steal or manipulate it. But the genius of Bitcoin is the blockchain technology, which means every transaction has to be verified by numerous computers working around the world simultaneously. Those computers are not controlled by any one individual. There's no Goldfinger or Skeletor or Steve Bannon who can just tell people how it's gonna be, who can turn things on or off. It's all public. Now, that doesn't mean super rich people can't buy up Bitcoin and control a lot of it, but that's true for any currency. And you might not understand a word I said about the blockchain. To be honest, I understood maybe half of it, but you don't have to understand it to use it. It's like an airplane or a home electrolysis machine, you know? You may not know how it works, but you still find yourself in San Diego hairless and alone. You don't need to know. You don't need to know how it works. Doesn't matter. The next complaint people have is Bitcoin is used for bad things like drugs and prostitution. Naughty things. Well, let me tell you something, Negative Nancy. I did a little research just for this segment, and I went and bought loads of drugs and mail-order brides and black market organs. I just bought it all right? And you know what they all wanted to be paid with? Cash money, all right? They wanted cash. That is the #1 currency for illicit things. So we better make dollars illegal. We better make them illegal, right? Look, any technological advancement will be used by some bad people. Terrorists use cheap burner cell phones, right, to communicate, and then they throw them away. So I guess we better go back to smoke signals and tin cans attached with a string, you know? But what if the terrorists start using the tin cans? Fuck! Yeah, let's just get rid of anything anybody uses to commit a crime. I once saw a guy turn an apple core into a bong, so we gotta ban apples, right? I saw a guy freebase heroin off a spoon, so no more spoons! Furthermore, a lot of people view Bitcoin and cryptocurrency as a revolutionary, peaceful currency because our country, the U.S., is the #1 war perpetrator in the world. We've been at war 93% of our history. We are to war what a proctologist is to smelling bad, all right? The two go hand in hand. And where does all that money come from to constantly be at war? It comes from the US dollar. And by using it for everything, we give it power. So that's why a lot of people consider cryptocurrencies as pro-peace. Bitcoin also means that governments can't stop dissidents or revolutionaries from using it. We saw this recently with WikiLeaks. WikiLeaks revealed truths about our government that they didn't like, so the government put pressure on the big banks and the credit companies, PayPal, to shut off the funds, and they did. Now, it kind of backfired because after that, WikiLeaks switched to Bitcoin, and now they're richer than Beyonce standing on Warren Buffett, so whoops. Whoops on that one. Cryptocurrency is also a pro-people idea because there are 2.5 billion people in this world who don't have bank accounts or aren't allowed to. With Bitcoin, all you need is an internet-connected phone, which a lot of the world has. And for people from poorer countries, a lot of their money is sent home to help their family. But the problem is the banks and wire services take a huge percentage because they're fucking twats, and sometimes as much as 30%, but with Bitcoin, the cost is near zero. Look, innovation is always impeded by those who stand to lose the most. And right now, that's our corporate government and Wall Street. When the automobile was first unveiled, Big Carriage was not happy about it, all right? Big Wagon was very upset, and they pressured the UK to pass a law that set the speed limit to 2 miles per hour. And another required a person to walk in front of the vehicle waving a red flag at all times. Seriously, watch out! A fucking car's coming through! This shit's crazy! Maybe that'll be the next Wall Street regulation. Every time you use a Bitcoin, you have to have a flag man sitting next to you at your computer just going, cryptocurrency's coming through! Hide your kids, no one knows it's gonna happen! Cryptocurrency won't fix our broken world. No single thing will. But unlike dollars, cryptocurrency is global, instant, secure, free to use, and not controlled by corporate governments. Bitcoin may not be the winner in the end of this, so don't go and dump all your money into it. Maybe another cryptocurrency will win out. But one of them will change the world and make that red flag man look like a fucking lunatic. Coming to you from Washington, D.C., the Belly of the Beast is ridiculous.